Corey Simon days away from the start of college football. The immovable Corey Simon. That's a guy that would have to take the compliment. What a gargantuan ass. I mean, I remember covering. I know Corey, and he'll chuckle at that, I think. I hope, because he could throttle me. But I remember thinking, how does anybody block him? You can't move him. You cannot move a man who has that much in the caboose. And it would also explain why coaches routinely ignore decorum while visiting campuses all around the country and scouting for the NFL. And they first say, when looking at offensive and defensive linemen, what kind of ass does he have? That's how the scouting department looks at your offensive and defensive linemen. We start there, and then we move out for the other skill sets.
It has been PG-ified, if you will, to trunk or base.
Sure.
In the scouting community. But yes, you're correct. When the coaches are around or the mics are off, that's how they go.
Yeah. Bill Belichick famously was the first to kind of admit that on camera. He's like, oh, yeah, I like that kid. So we're looking at him at number 16 in the draft. Yeah. Great ass. Yeah, he does. He does. Absolutely. And just said it unabashedly. You're like, all right, there you go, Bill. But I mean, it's football. It's football. It's true. It's in other sports, it would be something you'd call, reach, length, arm length, width, all that stuff. That's just the
wingspan.
Yeah, absolutely. It matters. Yeah, he's 6'5", but he's got a 6'9" wingspan. So you're like, oh, okay, great. Yeah.
That's usually the thing that if you go get a power forward and you see power forward, 6'5" with 6'10" wingspan.
Yeah, you're like, that's different.
They're ready to say that right away. Now, hang on a minute.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how often it is that in the NBA, you look at a 6'9" guy, you're like, hey, 6'9", how does he get so many rebounds? He's got a 7'2" wingspan. Oh, okay. That's a little bit different. There have been some good 53s, but you'd have to say Corey Simon would be the one. And oh, by the way, while we're on the subject, again, guys, we are 44 days away from the start of college football. So you get through this week, get through the weekend, we're in the 30s. It's, honestly, the 30s, you just smile ear to ear when you wake up. That's kind of how that works. You just wake up with a smile on your face. No more previewing, projecting, wondering aloud, but rather reporting on the ground. Practice starts today. We saw this. I think this is a problem. I think this is an asset. I think these are the things we're going to work on. This is how I'm excited about this player's development, or what I'm worried about with this player's lack of development. Then you get the on-the-field, day-to-day reports, and that's because we're allowed to go to practice, so can't celebrate that enough.
Well, 2 weeks from today, we'll be in Charlotte talking to Mike Norvell and the players that they choose. We don't know the three yet. At least I haven't seen an announcement. That means it probably happened 30 seconds ago. But we put together our list for the ACC on Radio Row, which is another fun check of the box.
Yeah, and we we'll see if they give us who we asked for. That's always funny. We were talking about that I was talking about that with the boys yesterday.
You could talk to Mario Cristobal on Tuesday of 2 weeks from now.
I can.
A little one-on-one with Mario.
What an experience. You got to wonder where Mario's head's at. It's funny, the year two guys in the state, we went through this process.
Oh, yeah.
Where everybody is watching your head coach intently, wondering, they get him a good one, or are they still reeling? And, until Mike turned it around a year ago, the thought from Florida fans and Miami fans aimed at Florida State was, don't know that your guy's going to get this turned around. May not have worked out for him. Even if they thought he was a good hire at the time, there were real questions even amongst this fan base. But, of course, that season a year ago changed the outlook, changed the vantage point for all involved, us and them. Where we sit right now, looking at Napier and looking at Cristobal, is I'm a wait, we'll see kind of guy when it comes to Napier. I liked what he had to say when he was courted for other coaching jobs and stories that I read, the way that he patiently waited for what he called the right job. He understood he needed the support of the athletic department. He wanted a ton of analysts. He needed to know that they had the resources and everything on the same page. So he waited. He had been offered other jobs before taking that Florida job, and certainly they have that. Their collective has finally got their act together. It's being led by a guy that is a Harvard-educated guy, and they finally kind of figured it out after botching it. So we'll see what they are. I'm not willing to write him off after 1 year. And I get it. You had some NFL talent on that team, and they were wildly inconsistent. What I think is interesting is I've never understood the fascination with Cristobal. I've never seen it. I don't see it on game day. He's a terrible game day coach. There are countless examples of this. The thought from Miami fans was always, he's one of us. He's one of our own. He played here. He can coach up the offensive line, and, he'll be able to recruit. He'll keep Miami kids here. He can really recruit. Well, we'll see. You got to win games, and they didn't do that a year ago, and they looked awfully befuddled frequently. And he lost an asset in the form of a quarterback that was really good and suddenly wasn't really good. Now, I'll grant you he got hurt, but they had real problems there. So I'm more suspect of Miami's prospects than I am Florida's currently. But you know what else I'm pretty sure of? We're in good shape in Tallahassee. We're all right. Our guy came through the other side, survived what was a growing weight of frustration and expectation, and got through to the other side. And now you enter a different realm. That's really the conversation that we all have, is that you get to a place where you go from, okay, you can coach. Got it. We're all good there. Looks like we've come out the other side. Now, can you continue to elevate? Can you continue to get better? Can you get to where we're a championship level program? So this year, unlike last year, is a different referendum. Last year's was, we got to have a winning season at some point here, man. Now it's, are we moving to being a championship level program? How close are we? This year we'll decide how close we are to being that kind of a program. You assume year in and year out, rightfully so, that Alabama and Ohio State, to some degree for a long time, they're at Clemson, Georgia now, obviously, with back-to-back national titles and the recruiting classes strung together, you assume, rightfully so, that those programs are always vying for, at the very least, a conference title or in position to fight for one. Not that they will get it, but that's the goal going into the season, and the requisite talent is usually in place. For Florida State, this time next year, Tom, before we head off to Ireland and take on Georgia Tech, what will we be saying about Florida State? Will we be saying that, hey, last year proved they were still ascending, now it's time, I understand we have a change at quarterback. We can kind of take a cursory glance at what those talking points will be this time next year. But will we have continued to infuse the roster with elite level talent via the form of a great recruiting class, a top 10 recruiting class, and then filled the holes for immediate playing time with upper crust transfer portal players the way they have each of the last couple of years?
It's an easy talking point for next year, which is elite programs reload on the fly. Are you an elite program? Can you reload on the fly? Does it mean that you're always competing for a national championship? No, not even Alabama does that. They miss the playoffs every once in a while. Clemson has too. But can you reload on the fly to where, when you look at a Vegas line, 12 games in a season, your favorite 10 out of them, 11 out of them, because you've got the talent and you've also got the reputation and you've gotten consensus recruiting classes in the top 5, top 10, when also you factor in the transfer portal. Can you do it on the fly and not drop off to an 8-win season after perhaps an ACC championship season or a playoff season? Yeah, that's going to be the talking point next year. It's okay, you put it together, and last year was a wild success. Great job, Mike Norvell. But you brought everybody back. Now, most everybody is gone. So many starts have been lost to the next level. So what can you do with that? That's where, again, to me, everything about practice this fall, even through the season, how many reps can you get for the younger guys? Two, how many in-game reps can you get for players in the 12 games? How many blowouts can you put yourself in position to get young dudes on the field to cultivate them and develop them? Really, really big secondary storyline for this fall.
The National League is finally victorious, and the three of us root in part for the National League. Oh, come on, let your pride beam.
SEC.
Celebrate the National League breaking a drought of seemingly eons. No, it was a good game. Good game.
It's my whole life, pretty much. Definitely Matthew's whole life that the American League has just dominated this game.
It's funny, when I grew up, the National League did in the same sort of way. You never even thought about the American League. You'd just be like, oh, well, the National League wins the All-Star game every year. And then it flipped.
Since the turn of the century, it's been American League. That one time they tied because they ran out of pitchers. And
that was embarrassing for Bud Selig at the time.
Yeah. Was that Milwaukee, I think they played?
Yeah. Which made it even more embarrassing since that was Bud's franchise. But yeah. So the All-Star game was good. And it was, you get a little 3-2 baseball game there. Flew along, first win for the National League since 2012. Really, more than anything else, it's just representative of time to get on with the second half of the season. Let's go.
I enjoy the Nate Eovaldi inning, where he's talking through. I didn't watch, most of the game. I watched probably 3-4 innings, but I really enjoy that when you can get a pitcher giving real-time feedback, pitch for pitch, saying, I thought I located that one. Like things like that. I really, you can never do that in the regular season. You just can't. But that makes the All-Star game kind of cool.
It's interesting. Baseball finally got it together some time ago with the mic'd up stuff for their game of the week and those kinds of things. Fans eat that stuff up. We live in an era where you have access to, in many cases, unfettered access to people that seemed out of reach. And if you think that's what social media's draw is in a lot of ways, you can be the town dunce and find a bunch of other dumbasses and then you can all yell together. But you can also find people that you look up to, admire, whose music you love, whatever it might be, and connect with them. Well, that's true of superstar athletes. I mean, you look from afar at people who are capable of doing things physically that you've only dreamt of, that you tried, you toiled away and tried to become that player at one point in your life. And so you know how hard it is because you never came close to that level of achievement, but you watch these guys and you admire these guys, at least athletically. And then now you have access to them. And sometimes they'll let you connect. They'll answer your questions, all of those things. This is another case of that where you take the step forward, you put the mic on and you let them talk to the fan at home. I know via the announcers, what their thought process is. We love that. That comes up all the time. What are you thinking when this happens? What is your goal with this pitch or, this approach at the plate? In golf, we love the commentary. They're doing that now too. They've added on the PGA Tour, if players will agree to it, it's a great idea. If I were a player's agent and I wasn't, say, John Rahm or Scotty Scheffler or somebody who's at the very top of the heap there in professional golf, they don't need the exposure. They're going to get it because they're going to finish in the top 5 every week. But if you're just a mid-level player, a top 50 player, and you've got a good personality, you're interesting, you've got something to say, and you're able to interact well, articulately as you walk through the fairways in round 2 of a tournament, why wouldn't you do it if you're Max Homa? I thought that was a home run with him. I've seen other players do it and do it really well. Colin Morikawa did a great job with it in one of the broadcasts that I watched where he was talking about. That
was Genesis.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that. Because those are unique courses and you're learning about their thought. Well, they should, I don't know that you could ever do it. I'm sure you could never do it really in the NBA or college basketball. You couldn't do it. It's too hectic, too fast-paced. I don't think you could do it in hockey either. But there are sports you can, and baseball is one of them.
Yeah, you might be able to do it on the bench. They do coach interviews on the bench. You might be able to do that. Let's say it's, end of the first quarter, and it's the superstar player who's going to come back with 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. So this is this little break that they get, and maybe they can tell you how they feel about what they've gone through in the first quarter, what they've seen defensively. But the thing is that a lot of times when you get somebody in a press conference setting, they've already figured out what their answer is going to be.
Oh, yes.
Not what their thought process is. But if you've got a pitcher complaining about, I threw a good pitch there, or, okay, I gone up the ladder, now I need to really tilt this one down. Like, that is actually what he can't fake that. He can't play 2 characters at once, media me, and then the pitcher. Pitcher's on the mound, man. You got to execute. You got to make a pitch. So that's what's cool about it to me.
In a weird way, I know they'll never do this because you get a lot of interaction for the home run derby, for example. You get a lot of those guys talking to the camera and they're able to watch it and talk about what they, the keys to being successful in a home run derby and all that kind of stuff. It gets monotonous. It's not a lot of fun to watch anymore. It had appeal to me many, many years ago. I thought it was awesome. I can still remember we were all glued in to the McGuire era, Sosa era, the home run, the steroid era provided 500-foot home runs, but there was a pacing to it where you got to watch the home run. You got to see how far it went. You got to see where it landed. You found out that's all gone right now. They have butchered this beyond reason. Poznansky wrote about this the other day. There are three things you want to see in a home run contest. You want to see the batter hit the ball and hear the crack of the bat. Can't always do that with these guys yammering on.
No, I watched on the StatCast broadcast.
Well, that's smart.
Which was much better.
Yeah. And then number two, you want to see if the ball left the park. Well, they don't even show you half the time because the next pitch is coming now with the new clock set up. It's like we don't even get to see where the ball goes. Think about the home run derby in Boston when he was hitting them over the monster, 500 and something feet. You're watching them land in the parking lot across the street.
Josh Hamilton, Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that was incredible.
He almost put it through the gap into the subway.
That was incredible. Sosa in Atlanta, like those moments, you want to see that, and they're gone. And then you want an up to the second count of the home runs they were behind by 10 seconds.
On the regular broadcast, StatCast was giving you real-time information. And so I had both of them on. It's the benefit of two TVs.
Yeah.
And Ravitch is awful, always has been.
Yeah. It's in fairness to any well, first of all, I can stomach him more than I can Berman going back.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying he's always late with information. The Sunday night broadcast team is often very late and not seeing. If it's a bang play, they're going to replay like, oh, wait, he did avoid the tag. Well, it's been shown on the screen 4 times.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, we've seen it 4 times. Oh, wait a minute. They did apply the tag there. Yeah, your job is to be ahead of the game. And if you can't be, then the person in the truck's got to tell you. That's inside television stuff that just kind of makes me angry. But at least when they did the StatCast broadcast, everybody's talking about launch angles and the distances, and they've got real-time feedback. But I agree with you. They could combine the bracket, which I really like, and the grand prize of $1 million, which draws a lot better competition, and then do 10 outs. And then do the 10-out format.
Well, and get rid of – in 2015 is when they brought in the home run clock, okay? And originally it was 5 minutes, and that's what you got to hit home runs. Then it got moved to 3.
Yeah, because they were playing past midnight.
Yeah. We fewer people, more emphasis on the stuff you're talking about that StatCast provided, but also can we watch these monsters do what they do and watch the ball and take a breather between pitches and get a sense of what's happening? It's disorienting.
It can be.
Yeah, the home run derby should never be described as disorienting.
But I personally like it more than I like the All-Star game. The All-Star game has lost a lot of juice. There's nothing on the line, which I was in the era where at least, the World Series home field was part of the process. The American League always won it, but it was a part of the process. Now they don't even wear their uniforms. They wear some facsimile.
I hate that more than anything else. As a kid, I lit up, and I think everybody can relate to this. You would light up when you saw one of your guys. Yeah. No, I know they got the cap, but come on, man. You got to have, I remember seeing Dave Parker in the All-Star game, man right field, and watching him run out there to right field in the black and gold. I was like, ooh, he's my guy. Yeah. And then you'd look around, and you're always in awe of other franchises' stars as well that you don't always get to see. That was a big part of it, too. When I watched the All-Star game as a kid, that was the first time you got to see Rod Carew. He wasn't on here. He was a California Angel at the time or a Twin. I couldn't see Rod Carew.
The other thing is I'd like to see fewer pitchers, and I don't know if you got to create a longer gap, but everybody gets one inning. That totally takes the life out of it for me. It was, even when I was a kid, I think maybe some guys were still going 5, but then it was 3 for the starters. Yeah. Now it's just everybody gets, who cares? You watch some of the clips of the old days, and this is before my time, so it's not like my time was better. Your era.
Yeah.
When these two leagues hated each other.
And they played for real. Guys got taken out.
And the ace would go 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I get that you don't necessarily want to do that. The money is so great. If you get your ace injured in an all-star game, you're pissed. If you threw him 7 innings, 100 pitches, whatever that might.
It feels like guys get hurt more now with the specialization and the all-out effort on every pitch.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I'm not saying that they would. It's just that you could see somebody would gripe, an owner would be furious.
Then the starters were the starters. If you're on the bench, great. They might call on you to pinch hit, or in a situation, if they're up late, then you're in for defense. But the starters were in. That was it. It's not this merry-go-round all right, it's time for the Braves inning. It's time for the Blue Jays inning. It's time for the, stop.
Well, a big part of that had to do with the fact that, you're right. They instituted a rule where everybody you had to have a representative from every team.
Yep.
Sorry. If your team's garbage and that guy's not better than the next guy, you don't get a guy.
Right. Which is why I like the Derby more.
Tough luck.
The Derby's different. It's something unique.
Where I was going to go with that, though, is regardless if you like the Derby okay or don't or do like the All-Star game, the NHL skill competition is phenomenal.
Yep.
The All-Star game itself is whatever. It's 9-8. Nobody cares about that.
They do a mini tournament now because they know it's boring.
Very much like the NBA's All-Star weekend. I don't need to see 188 to 184 where nobody guards anybody and it's an alley-oop fest.
It used to be the last 2 minutes of the All-Star game was good because then
they
egos are on the line.
They bothered to play, yeah. But when you get the best in the world in any sport doing a skills competition, I think most anybody would want to see that.
Did you see what they did last year with the golf? No. They went to a golf. ESPN had the hockey players go to a golf course and they played with the hockey pucks and sticks. And it was Michael Collins was the guy that was doing the emceeing. It was great.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was really fun.
I'll have to watch. But yeah, trying to do more specialized things like that would make all of this more fun. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
For about 50 years, Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses for thousands of people right here in the Big Bend. And we're quite proud of that. Fact is, all of us here at Paul's have families, and nothing is more important to us than their protection. By providing effective termite and pest treatments, we know we're aiding many right here in our community.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control performs many services designed for the protection of your family and your home. Programs like Pro Shield Complete, which encompasses termite and general pest control in one low-cost quarterly treatment plan. This program is environmentally friendly and is almost exclusively limited to exterior treatments, meaning pests and termites never enter your home. Termite programs like Centricon, a service which requires no invasive drilling or liquid applications. Plus, our lawn care team keeps lawns and ornamentals green and healthy.
Protection of your family, your home, and our environment all are very important to each of us at Paul's. To learn more about our many programs, please visit us at callpauls.com.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all. Want a Zaxby's Big Zax snack meal for free? With free fingers, free fries, free Zax sauce, even free Texas toast? All you have to do is download the Zaxby's app. Did you download it yet? Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
Tune in every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. for Great Southern Gospel with Bobby and Nita Key, sharing their voices for nearly 20 years, only on Real Talk 93.3.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270146.
Just a call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away. Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away.
We all want Want more energy, more strength, more results? Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Oh, silliness. So, you and I didn't get a chance to discuss this. I want to come back to something that relates to Florida State and our efforts to get to another conference, or at least out of this one. Closer and closer, of course, to the ACC kickoff, where it will be very interesting to hear from the commissioner. Interesting is one way of describing it.
I would love for us to drop a bomb on Tuesday during the forum.
It'd be incredible.
Chaos.
It would be incredible, but it does seem unlikely. And we've had a few questions in this ilk, and I do think we should address it. It's a favorite topic of yours. It's one that you and I have had many discussions about before, on and off the air. And I think it's something that everybody's intrigued by, and we don't really know definitively the answers to these questions. And it really kind of was something that a week ago was brought back to the forefront of our thinking in regards to the ACC and the future of college athletics and the future of live sports. And, I know you saw this story probably there on the front page of the New York Daily News because they were originally the one to break it. They usually are when it comes to ESPN. Disney-related stories, ESPN, they seem to be on top of pretty quickly up there. They laid off 23 on-air personalities at ESPN. We know that. And so when you saw that, you knew, all right, well, let's look how big were the names and what were the salaries. And it really was an eclectic mix of talent. I think the best basketball analyst in the best NBA basketball analyst of live broadcasts was let go, and Jeff Van Gundy. He's spectacular. Keyshawn Johnson's useless. He was let go. That's fine. Jalen Rose, good at what he does. Very good at what he does.
He was good for Get Up, too.
Yeah,
that was perfect for that
he
format.
He was really good. Hated to see him go. Susie Colbert is my lady.
Yeah.
Talented.
That one stings.
Stunning to look at, all of those things.
Never got a real opportunity with Monday Night Countdown, too, because after Boomer retired, like, all right, we're going to bring him back for the halftime show.
Yeah,
and he's
like,
going to be there sometimes. He's going to be
man.
walking around the field just talking and mumbling. We'll
He's
put a
going to be over
microphone on
here
him.
just being fat.
There you go.
Good
luck, Susie.
Yeah. I know you were devastated to see Todd McShay was let go. So
I actually grew to like him.
I did too,
because
he mocked the whole thing that he had to be a part of. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I had to get rid of 6.0 and distribute that this morning before I came on the air with you. God forbid we don't have 6.0 ready to go on draft day.
I love that he broke the wall, right? He was the one telling you that, hey, man, this is ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous, just like you know it's ridiculous, but it's my job and they pay me handsomely. I got to do it. So here's 6.0.
Scout Sync.
All right.
Nice job.
So I'm going to take an extended quote from one of the articles that I read, and then we will compare and contrast some notes here that I think are interesting. And I'll also read a listener's question that came into the email inbox this morning. And that will give us a chance to kind of expand on this a little bit. Disney is currently, this from an article in, I think this was NBC Sports where I got this from. Disney is currently caught squarely in the crosshairs of cord cutting. In lieu of having money for nothing subscription fees buried into cable and satellite packages that included umpteen ESPN channels that most of the people who were paying for them never watched, ESPN is moving towards a model that generates revenue only from those who want its content. The slow pivot of households having ESPN and paying for it, because that was the only way to get the channels they actually watched, to only those who want ESPN enough to specifically pay for it, continues. At some point, ESPN will indeed leave cable/satellite entirely and become a direct-to-consumer product, which, of course, Tom, brings us to the issue of the exorbitant cost of broadcast rights fees, which you and I have talked about a lot, and the amount of revenue needed by broadcast entities to cover those rights fees.
Yeah, especially as it relates to RSNs. Yeah.
ESPN and everybody else, and they're the biggest of the bunch, the giants, and thus the crosshairs are always squarely on them, miscalculated the projected revenue and the shortfall due to the unexpected impact, I guess, of cord cutting would be the way to say that, Tom. When they agreed to the rights fees, when they were gobbling up rights fees for every sport. And at the time, we know why they did that, but they gobbled up those rights fees for the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, NHL finally got that back, right? So all those things. So in that situation, by the way, does exist at CBS, it does exist at NBC, and it does exist at Fox, but their talent pool is far less extensive, and they don't have as many 24-hour-a-day networks as ESPN does.
NBC got rid of theirs.
That's correct.
They said the hell with it.
Yeah, they ditched their sports cable network 2021.
Yeah.
Like you said.
When hockey left, they said, all right.
CBS Sports Network, FS2, CBS, Fox, FS1, like a lot of these are taking beatings, okay? And that's where we're at. So if you're trying to join the SEC or you're trying to join the Big Ten and you want to ensure those big money payouts for each of the conference's lucrative TV contracts that we've discussed, you got to ask yourself if we're reaching the bubble here. Are those contracts that we desperately vie for and want to be a part of, are those sustainable? Do those even exist 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's a giant question. It's a fair question. I think it would be in ESPN's best interest to implode the ACC so they can spin off the 8 do-nothing teams and consolidate the teams that they do like into other contracts so that you're paying as few entities as possible top dollar. But the thing that I find interesting here is, okay, if you've got 4 channels or 5 channels that cost somewhere between $1 or $2 a piece in a cable package or a satellite package, and then you can change that model to a direct-to-consumer and it's $6.99 a month or $7.99 a month. People are going to pay that when it's the season that they want to watch. They'll pay. You could have the year for $50 or $60, or you could have this monthly package broken out because you bought the annual at much less.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're going to be able to cover that amount of money when they go direct to consumer. Also, if I was them, I wouldn't see the reason not to do both right now. Why not do both? What are you waiting for with the cable packages and the satellite providers collapsing and this direct-to-consumer thing? Why do you have to pivot to one or the other? Why can't you roll it into something now? So what ESPN's doing is they're buying rights to as much as they possibly can so you can go nowhere else.
That's right.
To watch sports. You've got no other choice.
Right, and they
but
overpay
you've got
for
to
that.
go through them. And then they're going to charge, it'll be like $5.99 for the first year, but then it'll go up to $10, then $12, then $15 per month for the entire year. And then that's it. They've got you by the cojones. Maybe they'll get a deal done with YouTube TV or something along those lines. But I think they're going to be able to replicate the money. My concern is for RSNs as it pertains to professional sports.
Yeah, baseball.
When the Dodgers have to clear $2 million a game times 150 games, because maybe they got 12 that are on national TV, I don't see how the hell they do that.
Well, right. Yeah, that's not going to be there. It will be interesting, too. And for college sports, where we're looking at, I mean, look what we've also watched. This is why everybody feels like you're in limbo right now. We're watching Florida State and others. This is a game of musical chairs. We're watching the Pac-12 right now. Still don't have a situation resolved there. So their situation could affect our situation. Could affect
the end of May. So that's the middle of June.
There's great uncertainty in the sport right now. And look, I mean, again, pro leagues continue to raise their rights fees like you were talking about. And so you wonder if the broadcast entities eventually force the, let's say
MLB.
Yeah, or colleges to reduce their rights fees.
Yeah, it could be. But the thing is, correct. We may be arriving just in time if you're looking at it long term for the bubble to pop. But you want to be with the highest ticket schools at that time.
Yeah,
so when they whittle it down, everybody gets whittled down from the highest level. Because let's say that they told you as a conference, you got to take a 20% haircut. All right, disproportionately, that hurts the SEC more than the ACC, but still 20% off
of what they're making.
I mean, my
to
God, they're still farther ahead.
Yeah.
So you want to be with the breadwinners.
Well, you want to be there for a lot of reasons too, mostly money, but there are many other reasons to want to be there. Yeah,
willingness for exposure.
And every Saturday, once we go to 12-team playoffs, where 2 and 3 losses don't necessarily exclude you from being part of that, you're now playing games against Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, etc. It's a better product.
Yeah, I think ESPN, where ESPN's going to win on this, is they don't have to feature a 24-hour network anymore. That's what they're going to learn here. Is they built it around SportsCenter, which was correct for the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, but even before then, yeah.
But it's been wrong for 15 years. Embrace debate with their midday shows. Who cares? Who cares?
I completely agree. Who cares? It's staggering, however, and I know you've read these same numbers. There's a reason Stephen A. Smith gets paid what he does. Whenever you see that salary, you go, how is it possible that Stephen A. Smith is making that much money and doesn't get fired? He's on in the middle of the afternoon when everybody should be working, and it's but because then look at the numbers,
because then they can pull 1 million viewers. But it's like, so your goal's for 1 million midday.
It's amazing. And I give the man credit, by the way. You can love him or hate him, whatever. That dude is a numbers generating fool.
He is. And this is not a knock on Stephen A. I know a lot of the audience here, Florida State audience, is because he's not college football, is not a huge fan of Stephen A. We had that problem at the old place of employment.
Yeah.
That dude works so hard. It's ridiculous.
Tireless worker. He's a smart guy.
But he's also good to the smaller markets. That's something behind the curtain. We've got a lot of people at ESPN that were half, a quarter, a tenth as famous that wouldn't give you the time of day. Trey Wingo. But Stephen A. Smith would do anything
for you. The funny thing about all of the personalities, this is an aside. We're kind of just making an aside here. The funny thing about all of the biggest personalities on these networks is they're all very different, of course. And you're right. Half the guys that people loathe turn out to be great guys behind the scenes, like the coolest dudes you'd want to talk to and hang out with and have a conversation with, and aren't all that similar to their on-air personalities.
Right.
And then half the guys that you think are the salt of the earth, the greatest guys who are most beloved collectively by the fan bases, the guys that you kind of could do without.
Like, wow. Oh, so you're the one with the big head.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Really. Yeah, right.
But the thing to me is, as you'll see, in the past 5-6 years, Stephen A's role is expanding because they don't want to pay anybody else.
Well, we're going
to pay you this much, you're going to do NBA, you're going to do everything. Pregame, you're going to do halftime, you're going to do postgame.
You're going to work 20-hour days.
That's correct.
And you're going to get paid in a way that will see that when you retire, you never have to work, and your kid doesn't have to work, and anybody else doesn't have to work either if you don't want them to.
Correct, but they're not going to pay 6 people to do it.
No, they're not.
So that's the thing. They're going to find one superstar that did it with Greenberg. Now they're buying into McAfee. If you notice that they fired a lot of people, and now they have McAfee show.
Strange sort of.
But it's direct digital.
Yeah,
that's where they're going. They want the YouTube revenue. They want the podcast revenue. They should have just kept Levitard at that point, but they failed in that regard. It's just, to me, they don't have to be a 24-hour channel anymore. Once they get out of that headspace, then they're going to make money hand over fist.
Yeah, I just think that what's fascinating for us to watch as consumers and fans of the sport of college football and college athletics in general, let's say, which we've seen the bastardization of over time, is that, you wonder with the destabilization of these broadcast networks and the product in general, and what the future holds, you don't have a czar of college football that anybody can turn to help lead the way. The NCAA certainly isn't shining a bright light for us to follow. Nobody knows, what their role is anymore. This seems rudderless, completely rudderless. And nobody likes to feel like they're in limbo.
Correct.
And I think fans feel like they're in limbo.
It's begging for football to be spun off to a Power 2.
And then have the rest of college football, which you and I have talked about this too.
Yeah.
It would be very compelling because the level of competition and competitive evenness, if you will, you'd have it would be, if you watched Marshall versus Furman, it would be a great game to watch. They would be playing on the same field, level playing field, right? As opposed to Marshall taking on Alabama. So, you understand, you'd have this group over here. They play another brand of football that is almost akin to professional football. And then there's this whole other group of places that play football where schleps like me could have gone.
Right.
East Tennessee State's playing Western Kentucky. All right, I can relate to that.
Appy
and you
State
would watch
versus
it.
Appy
It would
State
be good.
Wake.
It'd be a good game.
Yeah.
And you would watch that. And the other reason you'd watch it is that it's simultaneously it would be building at the same time that gambling has become so big. So everybody's in on those games because there's an angle.
Yeah, I could see where, like, I think in the future, ESPN's going to have the base package that you buy. It's basically going to be their own cable package, even though it's direct to consumer. They're going to say, here's the base package for the networks, so you get whatever's on the networks. Then you got to pay an extra $3 a month if you want the ACC or the SEC, or you got to pay an extra $5 a month if you want MLB. You got to pay because they've got all hockey now. So it's an extra $5 a month during the hockey season on top of your base package in order to pay for NHL. That's how they're going to make all this money back. The thing is, I don't think they're moving as quick as they should.
Yeah, well,
as long as
we pay all those people when they fire them, Tom.
Well, yes, that is true. A lot of these settlements were in ironclad contracts.
It's the greatest gig in the world. This is a kiss my ass on Main Street for 23 personalities who had, in many cases, just signed a multi-year deal.
Correct.
With 3 of the first 4 years of that deal guaranteed. And then they turn around, had a change of heart, realized this is a losing proposition. We're going to fire these people. We've got to lower our bottom line. Oh, so I'm going to have to give Keyshawn Johnson, who's rich, whatever, $9 million to not work. Oh, tough life, Keyshawn.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll tell you what, to be in that position, to be one of those guys, like even if you're just like a mid-level guy that's seldom heard from, right? You just see him every now and then, very sports specific or whatever.
Max Kellerman.
Sure.
He was just let go.
Yeah. Oh, they're paying him out the wazoo.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, if you're Max, you're loving life. Just go back and do what you do best.
Yeah.
Boxing. You're a boxing genius. Go back and do boxing. You're now independently wealthy. Forget about it. Oh, what a good gig.
That's but regardless if there's a bubble coming or not, you want to be in the best position. Even if you got to pay the ACC a lump sum that's uncomfortable, like when ESPN is making a decision, let's just say that the bubble's bursting right here, right now, and they got to make a decision on what assets they're going to retain. You think they're going to stare at a conference with Wake and Syracuse and Boston College and keep them? They'll break that contract, find a way to spin them off and default on that and say, you guys are gone. We're going to keep the SEC. Now, the SEC might be at a reduced rate. Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah. We're not going to
But you want to be there before they have to make that decision.
Yeah, you want to be in there regardless if you never truly reap the rewards that those teams are currently getting. You need to be along with the winners.
Still worth it, because when it gets to Power 2, that's going to happen eventually.
Oh, sure it is.
And there's going to be one TV contract, and it's going to be just like the NFL's with CBS and Fox and ESPN. They're going to split it up from one place, one consolidated Power 2. Now, what the hell they do with the rest of college sports, I have no idea how that works.
Well, I don't think any of the other, I mean, half the sports that you see now, unfortunately, will be under the umbrella of club sports. I don't think you're going to continue to see some of the sports that are NCAA sports be that anymore. Universities aren't going to pay for that. There's no, I mean, that's a different discussion. But Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A data security incident impacting a national healthcare and hospital system includes entities in Leon County. HCA Healthcare said they recently discovered that a list of certain information with respect to some of its patients was made available by an unknown and unauthorized party on an online forum. Some of the information exposed includes patient name, city, state, and zip code, email, telephone number, date of birth, gender, service date, location, and next appointment date. The breach includes 11 million HCA Healthcare patients nationwide. People living in the Westminster Oaks community off of Dempsey Mayo Road have said existing crosswalks are not enough and more needs to be done about pedestrian safety. After 3 years of working with the county, progress is finally being made. An engineering firm recommended raising the 3 crosswalks in the area, widening the sidewalks, and relocating a current crosswalk. The County Board of Commissioners will be taking a closer look at the possible changes at their next meeting. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McEnroe Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McEnroeSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A heat advisory continues until 7 p.m. this evening. Mainly cloudy skies this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High of 93, winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight, chance for scattered storms, 75. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow, high of 90. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Down to number 2. Number 1 tonight, maybe. Is that right? Wake Up Warchant.
The articles are out, and obviously everybody knows who the top 2 are, but extended discussions on the channel. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, so we'll get into Jared Verse and the kind of season we project him to have next hour. This is a short segment here, but we'll get to that as he was number 2. Yes, as you said, most everybody certainly knew that Jordan Travis and Jared Verse would grab the top 2 spots, and they did. And kind of interesting to go through the process of vetting the type of season you think Jared Verse is going to have. There are a lot of factors that play into that. I'll also just say that my man had 9 sacks in a year in which he was never healthy.
Yep, outside of the first couple of games. And he was a terror against LSU.
Yes, he was. Golly, I really selfishly just want, for the purposes of enjoying guys that are elite, watching them evolve, become the best version of themselves. Selfishly, he's a Knoll, and that benefits us greatly, but I want to see him be healthy to see what he can be through 12 games. Like, what kind of season can that guy compile if he has the burst, if he has the fresh legs? It's a football season. You're going to play with bruises and dings, and you're going to be slowed occasionally. But we know what a fully healthy Jared Verse looks like, and we know when you watch guys like that enjoy the length of a season in which they're relatively healthy every Saturday, how impactful that can be, how it changes the game. And I'd love for him to be able to have that kind of year. Selfishly, again, it benefits Florida State greatly, but I want to see it for him. He chose to come back. I'll grant it. I'll grant you. It's easier for kids to choose to come back these days when they're offered hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. So it's not the same as it used to be when somebody came back. I'm not trying to discredit him. I'm just saying it was an easier decision thanks to the battle's end. But I do want to see him fully realized. We've yet to see it.
Yeah, now this is interesting beyond Jared Verse because you talk about a 12-game season and the bumps and bruises that accrue. We have an early bye week. It's after 4 games and you got to play 8 straight weekends. We should be in a position to have quite a few games where guys are resting in the second half, and you can get your rest. I mean, North Alabama is the obvious one.
Which affects the numbers that you and I will project, does it not?
Yes, but then also I think the management of the reps week to week, the coaching staff has a bit of a different decision to make than if the bye week was, say, Halloween week or, the 21st of October, 25th of October, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a little bit later,
if it was a different,
you could manage things a little bit differently. But Look, man, if you're going to do the things that we hope this team does, you're playing 9 straight weeks, including the ACC championship.
Yeah, that is one aspect I did not like about the schedule.
Now, the opponents will help you find rest as long as you do what you're supposed to do. But that's still a consideration when it's, all right, Jared is chasing this number this week or that number, or you've got, I don't know, Trey Benson accruing numbers. Well, we've got the long game to play here. I get it that he's at 95 yards in the first half. This game's in control. I know it says that the difference is only 13 on the board. We're going to win this game. So I need Trey for the long haul. So he's going to have far fewer reps in this third quarter. And as long as we do what we're supposed to, he's done for the day.
Well, inadvertently, we're going down another path here during this short segment, which is to say that of the accolades and the awards you'd like to see certain players accrue, very few will. The depth of talent on this team and the need to get those players experience before 2024, given what you're going to lose at the end of the season and the number of outmatched teams on the schedule, suggests you're going to see a lot of 2-quarter games for these superstars or 2.5-quarter games for these superstars. And that might include your starting quarterback and Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Trey Benson and Jared Verse and all of these guys. And then all of a sudden, you get to see what kind of player they are. They could dominate for a half, dominate for 3 quarters, but you never would get to see them amass the kind of numbers they were capable of because they're being pulled from these football games because it's not about individual awards. It's about team records, meaning your team record. What is your record?
The record.
Yeah, the record, right. So I do think that will victimize a lot of these guys when it comes to postseason awards. There'll be other players out there at other programs that are going to have better numbers because they're forced to play for longer and more meaningful games. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
This is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
Discover seasonal sensations full of passion and flavor at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. This summer, escape to your own Peruvian paradise in the capital city and experience handcrafted, colorful, refreshing cocktails like the Chilcano de Maracuyá, made with authentic pisco, mixed with lime juice, passion fruit, a splash of ginger ale, and bitters. Or enjoy a classic pisco sour made from grapes produced in the nutrient-rich lands of Peru. At Café de Martín and El Bar, everything is handmade from fresh ingredients con amor y pasión, with love and passion. From the moment you open the doors, you're immersed in the culture and transported to Tallahassee's only upscale Peruvian culinary experience, full of surprises with every dish and every drink. It's Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Espositos Shopping Center. Open Monday through Saturday for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right, $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. The best way to start betting smarter is to sign up for a free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. That's vsin.com/subscribe.
The All-Star game in Seattle on Tuesday night, the National League defeating the American League 3-2. They end the AL's 9-game win streak in the Midsummer Classic and pick up their first win since 2012. Elias Diaz of the Colorado Rockies hit a 2-run home run in the 8th inning, giving the NL the lead for good. The second half of the baseball season will start on Friday. The Atlanta Braves have the best record in the majors. They are the betting favorite to win the World Series at plus 360. The Tampa Bay Rays, who have the best record in the American League, are plus 450 to claim the World Series title. With your VSiN Action Update, I'm Tony Desiri on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
This is Dr. Finn from Finn Chiropractic, talking to you guys about a subluxation-free summer. How many times have you told your kids, sit up straight, don't slouch? Well, chiropractic care isn't just for adults. The problems in your spine can start at an early age. So while school is out for the summer, we're offering our phenomenal health exam for just $47. Avoid a subluxation and bring in the kids. Give us a call, 386-7700 or finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
I'll never forget that moment. As long as I live. My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
As a truck driver, I've learned how important road safety is. I know that large trucks need more time and room to stop. That's why I always hang back and follow other vehicles at a safe distance. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. So next time you're driving, try to remember to always give trucks extra space when you merge in front of them. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
And it's going to be fun. Aren't you just so glad? I don't know that I should throw this out there to the universe. Maybe I should knock on wood or suggest that, listen, I don't believe in superstition. So how in the world does the situation at Northwestern happen? Every day now.
Heard y'all cover that one on Headlines.
Well, here's what I was laughing about. The second you read it, you thought, I don't know. I don't know if that's what's what. That could just be a disgruntled player mad at a coach. So let's see what happens. The pivotal part of that sentence there, the important part of that was, let's see what happens. Let's wait. Certain folks can't wait, man. If we learned anything, you got to wait. You got to wait. Let's find out. We still don't know everything. Now, I know he's been fired, and I know Northwestern screwed it up. Yeah. I can tell you that.
But keeping all of his assistants, are we sure that that's how that's going to pan out,
No,
too?
Of course not. But also, the school did an investigation and gave him 2 weeks, and then a few days later went, oh, sorry about that, you're fired. What kind of investigation did you do? One where you didn't investigate anything?
They investigated their mentions on Twitter is what they did. That's public pressure. All that does is legitimize people who want to, in situations not as serious as influence policy. It's like, don't give the mob the decision. Let the facts of the case decide what it is you're going to do.
But if you are in a place where you need to conduct an investigation over allegations as serious as this, then conduct the investigation. Don't pay lip service to this and then announce that it's just a 2-week suspension when there's going to be the school newspaper is what broke the story. The school newspaper beat them to the punch. Post-investigation, here are all the other things that we have now found out. Here are 11 other players. And they didn't find any of that in their investigation. It's a mock investigation. They didn't investigate anything. And now they look like idiots. But also, and I will say this, you guys know, I felt like, and I was always very careful when I talked about sort of the demonization of football. What I would originally, when we talked about the concussion issue, the shots I took were at the NFL for lying to its workers and then covering up the facts, as opposed to acknowledging that the sport is a dangerous sport. It's not for everybody. It is very violent. You might suffer injury. Now, if you'd like to play, feel free. We're going to watch it and make millions off of it. But it is dangerous, just so you know. That's the better approach. It's like in NASCAR, letting the guys know, hey, look, man, you go 200 miles per hour around the track, you could die. It could happen. You could die. Got it? Yep, I understand. Cool, you still want to race? Yep, okay, cool. We're in. Let's go. I can't wait to watch you race. Maybe you'll crash. It'll be awesome. So, like that's what I always thought they should do. Just acknowledge, like, yeah, and we'll work to better safety conditions and all that sort of stuff. Like, we'll do what we can. Instead, they lied, covered it up, got caught, exposed, sued, billions of dollars. All this other stuff had to happen because they wouldn't take it seriously. But I never attacked football for being violent. Football is violent. It's also awesome. And I played it, and I got hurt, and I loved it, and I really am glad that I did it. And everybody can make that decision for themselves, right? That's fine. It's not for everybody. And I do think there are ways to clean up the game and ways to, and they did a good job. But then I thought they overextended their reach. And you know, I was one of the guys that would come on the air and often say, guys, by and large, there's no such thing as targeting. And that would upset people. Like, Jeff, targeting exists. Not really. And we would go through this conversation where I was like, if you're on the field making a tackle and you make a split-second decision to take an angle, you really don't have time to decide, I'm going to calculatively destroy this guy's face. You don't have that kind of time. Low man wins in football. We're both fighting to get low. Our heads are going to collide. That's why we're wearing helmets. Hey, good idea. So that's how that works. And then they started throwing people out of games, and it was ridiculous. And I knew that I sounded like a bit of a Neanderthal for bringing up the fact that, hey, there's really no such thing as targeting. There is. That's an over-the-top statement. But it's pretty rare, is my point. It's pretty rare. And it certainly wasn't happening in the way that the penalties were suggesting that it happened. Intent, throwing people out, all this sort of nonsense. So you can acknowledge aspects of football culture, the game, etc., as being antiquated and agree with change, but also embrace aspects of it that are reprehensible to other people who don't understand the game and never played it and don't want their kids to be part of it. It's all fine. We can all exist in that world. That's okay. What I've never understood post like 1950, once we figured out it's a pretty good idea to let these dudes drink some water every now and again so they don't die, and that, you know, if you're abusing somebody for the sake of indoctrinating them into the team culture, that's probably not a good idea either, because if you beat the hell out of somebody, I'm not so sure they're going to feel real welcome. It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Hazing anywhere, fraternity, football, any group whatsoever. Groups tend to suck in general. It makes zero sense to do that. But it's especially true in 2023 when everybody's got a camera, everybody's got an outlet, everybody's got a means by which to expose all of this that apparently, allegedly went on at Northwestern. If you're Pat Fitzgerald, what are you doing? How is it even possible that you got caught up in this? Even if you are a meathead, even if you think it's okay to abuse people as part of acceptance into a greater culture that you've created in your locker room, even if you think that's the way to go about it, and it's not. But even if you think it is, you'd have to know better. Common sense would tell you, can't do that. Not in this day and age. The Junction Boys don't exist anymore. We're not doing this anymore. We're not going to have people just taking ass kickings, not drinking water for 2 days on end, fondling each other. What's the purpose of that? Don't understand that. Really weird. Anyhow, all of that stuff was like bizarre, but I don't care where you're at on all of this, such as, oh, they're trying to take away aspect. No, they're not. No, they're not. A naked dude hiking the ball to another naked dude. What does that do?
Yeah.
You didn't know about that? Or did you?
No, I'm well aware of it.
How is that even a thing? How is that a thing that you're like, yeah, that'll show him. Yeah, he'll have earned it. What? Bizarre.
Let the boy watch.
Bizarre.
It's got that kind of energy. It's got Ashley Schaefer energy.
Yeah. Except it's not funny, unlike Ashley Schaefer,
That's
who
correct.
is. I mean,
well, we thought, at least I thought, that was absurd. But apparently it isn't.
Well,
because hundreds of dudes said, all right, if that's the price I need to pay.
I think it's really, really strange and naive and dumb and a lot of things to think you would not get caught doing those things. Again, boiling it, I'm not even getting into the ethics of this or the morals of this or the criminality. I'm just saying, if you're the guy, let's say you believe in this and you think it's a good thing and it's a tradition.
It's not like I'm Sandusky or something.
Right. Even if you're that kind of blind and that kind of ignorant, how is it you didn't think for a second that you'd get caught? How? It's impossible. Like, people get in trouble for doing legit things that are hard in football. Like, oh, well, they worked out for over an hour and 22 minutes. That seems excessive. People get in trouble for stuff like that, which is not excessive. It is stupid to criticize and is over the top in an effort to delegitimize or whatever it might be. Well, you can bet if people get in trouble for working real hard, what do you think they're going to get when you're doing this kind of stuff?
Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a Greek element to this for sure. But
man.
Yeah. It was
it's Socrates over here. What is a recruiting visit like?
Yeah. So yeah,
hey, man,
staggering.
That's
to
a
read
legitimate question now.
Yeah.
What are we doing on the recruiting visits?
I know some much better athletes than myself who got to go on incredible recruiting visits around the country to the preeminent institutions that play football in all the land, and none of them ever came back to me going, well, I really enjoyed my trip to Penn State and Alabama and Michigan, but let me tell you what goes on at such and such, and then describing this, like there's no chance.
Right, and wouldn't that happen Wouldn't you?
That's what I mean.
If you are a senior who has decided that I'm going to pay this ridiculous and invasive and abusive price, wouldn't you tell the 18-year-old that's on campus, hey, man, you don't want to come here? They do weird stuff. And I'm ashamed to say that when I was a freshman, I did it, but you need to get, no, you go to Vandy. You're not going to Northwestern. Please stay away from here. That never happened once?
I find it odd. That's why initially when you read the story, you thought, I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see how this plays out. I don't know what to think about this. This seems like something that would have come to light before now. If the things they're saying happen, this is something that somebody would have reported. Like you said, if you're a recruit going to Northwestern, an elite institution of higher learning, et cetera, and and by the way, they've played in 2 Big Ten title games since 2018. I mean,
no, man, stay away. Trust me, you're better off.
Or why aren't you in the transfer portal? Like, right, I'm gone now.
Yep.
That's nuts.
It's the Northwestern way.
Oh, and now we
wear suits and ties, then we take them all off when it's time to snap the football.
Oh, buddy. So Fitzgerald's people said, quote unquote, or by people, I mean,
Jimmy, leave your tie on.
I mean, lawyer, and stop. Now it's getting weird.
Well, that's one little piece of the energy.
Put these heels on.
Right. Multiply that energy times 1,000 and then envision that it's real.
So this is
this is how Northwestern gets down.
You can play that's not what you do over and over and over again here, my man.
What?
Yeah. What? Hey, chasing dreams? What are we doing? All right. So listen really quickly. The lawyer on The Verge just a couple days ago, basically announced, he's on the verge of announcing, he didn't, but this suggests as much. We're going to take the necessary steps to protect Coach Fitzgerald's rights in accordance with the law. We're going to sue Northwestern because we want all of the money. Because they fired him, and they're going to fire him for a cause, and he's going to fight that. So the purpose of me bringing this up is you haven't heard anything yet. Now discovery. Yeah. Now all of it happens. Here we go.
Well, and you're going to learn from Northwestern's side because they're going to counter. You're going to learn about the lieutenants. This doesn't happen. Like, there are lieutenants. Right. There are middle people that.
The problem is Northwestern's a private institution. They don't have to tell us anything, and a lot of it will not be exposed, unfortunately.
I think local authorities can get involved there and say, no, this is probably in the public interest. And this is where a politician could actually do some good for their own gain.
I'm saying initially, we're not going to know anything until it actually, if it does indeed go to court. Yeah, then you will. But it's all so preventable and easily avoidable and completely silly and unnecessary and bizarre. And you heard him say initially, well, I didn't know. Well, you should have, and I don't believe you. I'm just going to go with A, you should have, and B, I don't believe you. Perhaps what you're saying is true, but I don't believe you is another way of me having this conversation with you.
Baseline is, if you didn't know, you're gone, but I don't think you didn't know. Come on now.
You couldn't not know. You're the head coach. They know everything that happens in their program. Now, were there cases over the years involving monies exchanging hands and jobs for parents and things like that in which a coach could invoke plausible deniability? Yes. I'm sure the good ones had it set up so that it was many persons removed from themselves, and they could claim, just as presidents often do, I didn't know we were selling arms for hostages. You didn't, did you? Okay.
That was Israel.
I mean, so I laugh at all this stuff, but this will get uglier, to your point. It's going to get uglier. Wait till all the other information comes out now. But again, this would be the wait.
Yeah.
Danny Canal, I'm talking to you, buddy. Just wait. You don't have to immediately tweet support for people you don't know all that well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just wait. Let's find out. Find out the deal. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey folks, it's me, McEnroe, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, McEnroe. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at McEnroe. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at McEnroe. See for yourself at McEnroeSystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. McEnroe.
Discover seasonal sensations full of passion and flavor at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. This summer, escape to your own Peruvian paradise in the capital city and experience handcrafted, colorful, refreshing cocktails like the Chilcano de Maracuyá, made with authentic pisco, mixed with lime juice, passion fruit, a splash of ginger ale, and bitters. Or enjoy a classic pisco sour made from grapes produced in the nutrient-rich lands of Peru. At Café de Martín and El Bar, everything is handmade from fresh ingredients con amor y pasión, with love and passion. From the moment you open the doors, you're immersed in the culture and transported to Tallahassee's only upscale Peruvian culinary experience, full of surprises with every dish and every drink. It's Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Espositos Shopping Center. Open Monday through Saturday for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore because Dave got a new girl from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Did you ever play Pin the Tail on the Donkey?
Is this Northwestern's version of Pin the Tail on the Donkey?
I kind of said it to be funny, but yeah. No,
I've never done an elephant walk. I've never done
no. Pin the tail on the donkey. The legit little kid pin the tail on the donkey birthday party event.
Preschool birthday. That was it.
Let me tell you something. There aren't too many of those preschool birthday party events that resonate even today. If you are invited to a party, it could be an all-adult party. And no, it's not a euphemism. If somebody said, hey, man, you want to play pin the tail on the donkey? It's one of the few childhood. Yes, I do. Pin the tail's awesome. We got a few drinks in us. You spin me around. I'll find it. Let's go. It's now that's again phrasing, but if you think about the childhood games you played, they were a lot of fun. Like the only one that really kind of stands out, well, wiffle ball still carries. I mean, grown ass men playing wiffle ball. That's awesome. Yeah. But pin the tail on the donkey was good, and a piñata never gets old. We should have parties where we're knocking the bejesus out of piñatas.
Yes, there was also a piñata at that party, and I didn't understand what it was. My parents didn't. They dropped me off. They didn't explain. Then I just saw candy everywhere. It was crazy.
Piñatas, heaven on earth. They're also a great source of internet videos where people get hit in the face or the testicles, or Mary slaps the hell out of Susan because she gets too close. Hold on, Mary. Bam! I love that stuff. That's great. It's you could watch that on a loop.
The most disgusting game that we played as kids, bobbing for apples.
All that snot?
That was at a kindergarten Halloween party. Bobbing for the only time I ever did it. It was really dumb.
In retrospect, not good, right?
Oh,
yeah. And there's always the kid hasn't showered in 6 days, dipping his head in that water.
Correct.
You're like, come on,
Trevor.
man. I got to go after Trevor.
Yep.
And he snots everywhere. Can't hold his breath.
Now, God only knows what bobbing for apples is at Northwestern. And I don't want to know.
It's a different kind of recruitment. Welcome in. To indoctrinate you here at Northwestern, we're going to play pin the tail on the donkey, aren't we, boys? You know what I'm saying. There's a little bobbing for apples, too. What?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Childhood games. This will be fun. Oh, you're not going to like this, Chris.
Yeah. Poor Ricky's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I remember when my innocence was lost, too, Ricky. That's okay. Blindfold him.
Briley, if as an adult anybody says want to play pin the tail on the donkey, do not put on that blindfold. Piñata is different. Make sure you're armed before you're blinded. Piñatas were fun, and pin the tail on the donkey was fun. But yeah, I thought I would introduce it because obviously I figured they had to lie about the nature of the games they were playing at Northwestern in order to get people to, yeah, come on down, I'll play. Sounds like a good time, everybody. Later on, they're in the fetal position in the corner of the locker room going, what is going on at Northwestern?
This is not the game I remember.
Is it
so
much more
the
wholesome?
Way you played it?
Is this the way you played it? Was your dad an assistant coach at Penn State? This isn't good. Sorry, everybody. Sometimes you just gotta laugh to keep from going crazy, and that is a bizarre story. So, number 2 on the top 40 list.
All right,
here we go. Brought to you by Zaxby's. Hello, Zaxby's. We love you. The sandwich is gigantic. Still gigantic. Still really tasty.
Here's your
split top bun.
That's right.
Big old pickles.
3 pickle chips on a split top bun. All the sauces you can dream of,
including the spicy Zax sauce.
Here's the over-under game. Which number is higher? The amount of sacks that Jared Verse racks up this season, or the amount of locations of Zaxby's here in Tallahassee? Which is the higher number?
Oh, Zaxby's locations.
That's correct.
It's going to be hard for Jared Verse to get 54 sacks. Hard for Jared Verse to amass 54 sacks. There's a Zaxby's on every corner. Look out your window. It's incredible.
The funny thing is, as things go, there's association with football season. And for you and I on Friday nights at the CP, you know what there's association with? A couple things. Your dad is in attendance.
He usually is. Yes, indeed.
And we enjoy an ice cold
Guinness.
That's correct. An ice cold Guinness.
Big, tall one.
Now on Saturdays, I wake up, I think, man, where's my Zaxby's at? Because it's been a couple of years straight of enjoying the Zaxby's. Great partnership.
Pavlov, you're just waking up like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's statistically somewhere I want to look now, not just at the number of Zaxby's, but Jared Verse. By the way, who led the team in tackles last year, you know?
Jamie Robinson.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You know how many?
No. 96.
99,
All
one
right,
shy of
all right.
100. Come
Yep.
on, that would have been awesome. You know who led the team in interceptions? Not a lot of them to choose from.
Greedy Vance.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Dropped the one that he had to have.
I cover this team.
Dropped the one he needed to have.
That's correct. Yes.
Dropped the one he needed
Probably rally to beat Wake Forest if he comes down with it.
Felt like it was going in that direction.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
How many pass attempts?
Oh.
No,
right.
I'm having fun with
Who,
you.
Tate?
Yeah.
38.
You're going to say 38 this year? More than 38?
Oh, no. So
Oh,
last year.
on the year. Yeah.
How many do you have last year? I got to look it up now.
31.
That's bad. That's outside the range of acceptability.
7. You were 7 off. He was 18 of 31. Couple touchdowns, couple picks.
Probably. Couple touchdowns,
Couple
probably.
touchdowns. How many times was Jordan Travis sacked last year?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Well, so how many fumbles did he have? 7.
He was sacked 15 times last year.
Wow, more than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
By a lot.
Did complete 64% of his passes. That's nice. That'll work. His long, 78 yards. Did have 24 touchdown passes to only 5 interceptions. Here we go, Jordan Travis.
For the folks on Warchant TV putting up Jared versus game log.
Oh, man. Oh, you're doing that. I wanted us to have fun with this. So there's the game log. Go ahead. I think you're going to have to expand it so we can see the numbers.
I was trying to get all 12 games on there. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm curious. A lot of our guys are stars. Trey Benson, Johnny Wilson, and Jordan Travis fit under the umbrella of fits and starts, right? Great games, missing all of a sudden, awesome game, then, 2 tackles, none for a loss, just a day at the office with not much to show for it. So it's really interesting that I think the consistency of which we speak regarding Benson and Wilson and Verse all will go up considerably. And that leads me to the question of sack total for the season. 9 a year ago. How many does he get this season? Knock on wood, he's healthy. Going to go over 9?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Going to go over 12?
That's where it gets.
Ooh.
Well, we're talking regular season
Yeah,
only?
12 games. 12 games.
12 games. Yeah, he'll go over 12. I think he will.
It's what a year. So if he gets to the 14-15 range, you're having a dominant performance. You're all ACC, you're potential All-American.
Yeah, there are 2 things that are difficult. Number 1, circumstances where you're going to be blowing your opponent out.
Yep.
Number 2, the overall talent of the defensive line. That helps his case, but it also could hurt his case because somebody might beat him to the punch, like a Patrick Payton who is shot out of a cannon, and he'll be drawing a lot more single-team situations than Jared Verse will.
Mm-hmm.
And then also playing 8 games consecutively toward the end of the season. I think that really is going to matter when these guys are rotated in and out. You've got to keep your players ready to go for the ACC championship game. You got to, especially if you go 1-1 or 2-0 in those 2 critical games in September, you got to play for the big prize in Charlotte and have everybody ready to go there. You can't have Jared Verse worn out because he's your best defensive end and you ran him out there 65 snaps a game. That's just not smart.
So would you say, 9 straight games? Is that right?
Yeah, if you make the ACC championship, yeah.
So let's just do because you have the September 3rd game against LSU.
Mm-hmm.
6 days later, you play Southern Miss.
Yep, you can take a breather there.
Then 7 days later, you play Boston College. Still don't have a break yet. Now you get one after Clemson. All right, so that begins the stretch you're talking about. The opponents in those games, if we're trying to amass over 14 sacks, 13 sacks, whatever the number we're projecting is, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, Wake, Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, and Florida. In that order.
Just November is a lot more taxing than October. So I think what you'll probably want to do, if you can take care of business in those 3 consecutive home games coming off the bye, is against Virginia Tech and Syracuse and Duke. That's when you want to give them the breather because Pitt's going to be physical. Miami certainly is going to be physical. Should blow them out, but it's going to be a physical game. And then so is Florida.
Yeah, and you don't what gets interesting is you probably just don't even want to play them against North Alabama.
Yeah, maybe a series. Maybe,
yeah. You don't even really want to play a lot of your guys. North Alabama, really, you're going to play them because you're going to play them 6 days after you play LSU. You're going to play them against Southern Miss.
Yeah.
It's so early in the season. They need the reps. They're just kind of.
And then you hope that you can, use them for a half against Boston College at most and start rotating them out ahead of Clemson.
Southern Miss, by the way, for those wondering, 4-4 in the Sun Belt Conference a year ago, 7-6 overall, not a elite version of Southern Miss. Because they've had years where they were just straight up good. So you're kind of like, well, it's been a minute.
Which Southern Miss are we drawing?
But it ain't this Southern. This is a team coming off a 500 season, so we'll see. I'm with you though. I'm well into the double digits here. I just what would you have to set it at to say under 15?
If it's the 12-game slate, I think 15 is a little much.
It seems like a lot, right? He's going to have games where he has 3, but he's going to have games where he has none.
They come in bunches, and the thing that's his best friend would be offensive success, and we believe that we're going to have that. Offensive success leads to predictability when the defense is on the field. The more we score, the more likely they are to drop back and have to pass, which means that Jared Verse can pin his ears back. So I think, if I was setting perhaps an over-under for multi-sack games for Jared Verse, 3.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
In the 12, what do you think? 3.5.
Multi-sack games?
Multi-sack games. Not 1.5, 2.0 or higher.
I'm going to go over.
Yeah.
I think he'll do it in 4 games.
Well, now you're into the mid-teens, perhaps.
He gets so hyped for the big games, too. He's going to come out in this LSU game. He's going to get a sack.
He was a monster against LSU. Now, it's not a freshman tackle that he's going against anymore, but still, he was lined up in multiple places and was a factor all over the field.
That day needs to get here. I am so ready for that game, for us to make our way over to Orlando to enjoy the fun centered around college football, and in particular, games of this magnitude. That's that different energy.
And also, like you said, he gets hyped up for these games, but when you're looking for leaders on that defense, who are they going to rally around? Over the years, we've had linebackers and safeties and some defensive linemen over a period of time that might be guys that you rally around. He's uniquely in a position to be a player that they all rally around this year.
He'll tell you all about it. So, he's a guy that it's emotional.
Yeah. But within control.
Yeah. No, he's not a cheap shot artist or anything like that. He's not overreacting. No doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and the price. Of course, buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. Have our friends at Legendary Home Loans on your side, in your corner, and going to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment for first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. It's not all. Shannon is an expert navigator to the home loan terrain. You can trust that he's going to get the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department has arrested a man in connection to a deadly shooting at the University Courtyard Apartments that took place on July 8th. The suspect has been identified as 22-year-old Solomon Sadiq. He knocked on a door at the apartment and was greeted by a 10-year-old girl. He walked into the home claiming he needed to charge his phone. Once inside, the girl and other children in the home hid in a bedroom, and she called her parents, who were at the store. When they returned, they found Sadiq in the hallway. That is when he fired his weapon, hitting and killing the victim, who is yet to be named. Sadiq then fled the scene. At the time of his arrest, officer said he was in possession of a stolen firearm and made an attempt to take an officer's weapon during the arrest. The Florida insurance market took a hit Tuesday as Farmers Insurance said it will end residential auto and umbrella policies in the state, forcing customers to look elsewhere for coverage. Farmers also is limiting homeowners coverage in California. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McEnroe Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McEnroeSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A heat advisory continues until 7 p.m. this evening. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. High of 93, winds out of the southwest, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight, 75. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow, high of 90. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 93.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab, all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777, and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
I think Jay is, and I think everybody else is too.
28 years. It just seems like we're not going to make it to 30. Might as well knock it out at 28.
I saw that tour at Club Down Under on Florida State's campus when it was their debut record. I was in attendance.
Not to alarm you. It's just if you're picking 28 years. Is there a?
No, I don't know why. I think I just saw that. I think in passing I saw that. We had a question come up yesterday. I was thinking about it during the break because we were trying to project numbers. What is there a player that is not a starter that has an opportunity to be, I guess, not only impactful, but somebody we're talking about at season's end as a household name, as somebody that the future is so bright. We're talking about, same type thing, the awards circuit the following year.
The award circuit the following year? No, immediately my brain went to Lawrence Toafili. Could be somebody who racks up close to 1,000 all-purpose yards. He's going to have so many unbelievable matchups this year.
Yeah.
So, but that would not be the award circuit next year because this is going to be it. Vandrevius Jacobs.
Rodney Hill too.
Rodney could get the touches. I'm just very curious to see with the 2 veterans at the top, how many touches they're going to give a third running back in a game like a Clemson or an LSU.
Yeah, I think early he won't get a lot, but they love him, man. They absolutely love him, and I know you do, and I certainly think the world of him and how good he's going to be. The other problem is I think we're all overlooking a very talented player because he got hurt in spring. But Keziah Holmes is the real deal as well. I think he can be a very productive player. Now, he'll be in the mix. I'm not saying he's going to get a lot of carries, but Keziah Holmes is really talented. I mean, this is a kid who went to Penn State, has real talent. He's a junior. He's a big kid. What did they list him at? What was he listed at the last time I saw him? I think he was, he'd gotten up to about 200 pounds, so 195 pounds, something like that. He's 6 feet tall. I'm not saying he's tall. I'm just saying he's a dense kid, so a thick kid. I don't know, man. I feel like he could play more than we're giving him credit for. He tweaked the hamstring, I think. I don't know that. But when we were watching him in spring, he went from being a part of it to just really not being much of a part of it at all, because if you have a hamstring problem, it takes time.
I don't know what they're going to do with third back. I think it's going to change game to game. And I understand that they have 2 separate running back positions that they call for different things.
Mm-hmm.
but who gets the totes? Who is the third player, and how does it look? Because you might want somebody that fits a Trayshawn Ward role more than somebody who, like Rodney Hill can be featured next year, but does he fit best as the third guy this year? So I don't know. It's just, this is a tough one for me to see. Also in short yardage, what do you do? We should be more successful straight ahead without gimmicks in short yardage, but who is the player? Is it Keziah? Is it Trey? Is Jaheim Bell an H-back in that situation? And maybe you have, I don't know, DJ Lundy out there as well. There's a lot of things that they didn't answer in spring. This isn't like we know, but we're not allowed to say. I don't know how they're going to make those personnel decisions and what they're going to look like.
I have a hard time figuring out Lawrence Toafili. I always do. I know we play up the joke that I've never been as impressed with him as a lot of other people. I love his versatility. I've always been impressed with that. I've talked a lot about his ability to catch the football for a back that is it's preternaturally good. I mean, he catches the ball like a true wide receiver. So I love that he's a combo guy. He had almost 300 yards receiving a year ago.
And he likes outside zone, which we're getting better at. So that's a nice fit compliment. It's just, I think it's about pass pro and lead blocking. And that's got to be a thing for the next guy beyond Toafili and beyond Trey Benson. Can you pass pro? And then are you okay at lead blocking too? Because they like to run split back sets and you don't know which way they're going to run the ball. They like doing that too.
I want to give Toafili his credit. I never do. I know I don't give him enough credit. As a pure running back, we've got a guy, and we had two last year in Ward as well as Benson. But as a pure running back, he never kind of falls under that umbrella for me because he's just so versatile at catching the ball out of the backfield. And you're never going to feature Toafili, but we don't really feature anybody. That'll be interesting to see because we don't really feature anybody.
That's the hard part. But, in September, when you need veteran presences on that field, that's why I think Dimitri Emmanuel is going to be somebody they lean on in the first month heavily on the offensive line. It's just you want fewer variables. You want guys that you can execute X, Y, and Z against LSU in a neutral site. They can execute A, B, and C against Clemson on the road. I don't need guesswork here.
Yeah.
I don't need a kid to learn the ropes. Not right now. So what does that mean? How does that influence what the roster looks like, the usage looks like in the first month of the season versus October and November, when maybe a guy like a Rodney Hill develops into a trusted part of the rotation, and by the Florida game, he's your second running back. Like, I could see that happening.
I could absolutely see that happening. I like that scenario that you just laid out there. Briley asked an interesting question. I think it's a good one. Who's the best player on the team who was on our team last year but played fewer than 2 games last season due to injury? Keziah Holmes, Bless, Wright. You talking about Winston Wright? I would love for the answer. Look, I think Bless is going to start at one of the tackle positions. So, it's probably him if you're going to be a starting tackle. I mean, I think he's got a good chance to start. But I really am rooting, if I'm just going to be honest with everybody, I'm rooting for Winston Wright. I hate that through no fault of his own, his career got completely derailed. He was the most experienced of all the receivers. We were right to go out and get him. He'd been productive at the Power 5 level. He was a guy that really, when you got him, you thought, what a huge get for a unit that desperately needed production and experience. And you brought that kid in, and then the accident happened, the surgeries happened, an entire lost season, a bunch of time rehabbing. Didn't look like he was all the way back, in my opinion, in spring. Didn't really get the opportunity to be featured in any way. He got overshadowed because we have a superstar freshman in Vendravius Jacobs. So you just don't know what his role is going to be. But for a kid who had over 50 catches in a season for West Virginia and put up numbers, you just know that if he does get back, if he is something close to where he was prior to the accident, he could be a hugely impactful player for this offense.
Yeah, the talking points around Winston Wright can change in one practice.
Mm-hmm.
If they say you go at 100% and you see the explosiveness, we're all going to change our tune on him. It's just that I don't know if it's no longer in the tank for him or that they're just ramping up the recovery because there's no need to take a chance in spring with somebody who is so skilled and knows what it is to be a big time player at Power 5. So he's still got a chance. It's not like, it's just never going to happen for him. One day of practice and we could see it. Oh, never mind.
It's happening. It's going to matter.
Yeah, set it and forget it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the nature of the question just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Kevin Knowles. has a chance to be in that conversation because I don't think he was ever healthy last year.
Yeah, he certainly didn't look it. Didn't play well at all.
And that kid, as a freshman,
showed us
instincts, flash to the back of the backfield,
Mm-hmm.
physical, like to hit. You add a player like that into your defensive back rotation, that makes a huge difference.
Agreed. Let's root for these kids that either played hurt and saw their production decline because of it or haven't been able to come all the way back. I think that's normal. I think it goes without saying everybody's rooting for guys to come back from injury, but these are guys that have the real potential we've seen glimpses of. One that wasn't here but was in Power 5 and one that was.
The other hard thing is sometimes guys are just good in spring and they're not in fall. Like they legitimately are good, and then you look at fall, you say, "What
the hell happened to that
Where
guy?
did you go?
Fell off a cliff."
Bless was good in spring, though. I thought Bless was really good.
And I think he was going to be great last year.
And then they could have had Jazz at right guard. I mean,
Where they wanted him.
Yeah.
We still overcame a lot of stuff even with all those injuries. That was Tub Talk. That's what we do in the tub. We hang out and talk about football. Ask about which guys are going to play well, which ones aren't, who's going to surprise us. Folks at Pinch a Penny are making it really easy right now to finally get that hot tub or spa that you've always wanted. For a limited time only, you can get discounts and rebates up to $5,000 off, plus 0% financing, kids. 0%. 60 months. Woo, 5 years. Florida
Also,
State math.
That's right. Say no to the tub at Northwestern. Just say no.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to get into the hot tub. No, we're not.
No, I'm going to my own personal.
We're going to play pin the tail. No, we're not.
No, I'm going to my own garden tub and locking the door. Thank you.
That means you can put a hot tub in your backyard right now for as little as $99 a month with installation. Plus, you get those hot tub covers. Got to have that. You want to walk out there and be like, there's a pigeon in my tub. I spoke with the owner personally. He admitted that in all his years in this business, this is the most motivating and best deals he's ever seen from the higher ups. Best he's ever been able to offer. They've got over 50 hot tubs and spas in stock right now. By the way, that showroom is massive. Just go in there, if only to tap dance.
It's the new. It's
got a lot of echo.
We were talking about this in the office after the show the other day. It's the new TV.
Yeah.
Like, remember when TVs
0%?
It changed, and he said, "Oh, I can get the best TV in the world. No big deal."
Suddenly,
that's what they're doing with
attendance dropped considerably across the land.
Now you can have a TV and a hot tub for all the games on Saturday. There you go.
Well, if they still make it 45 minutes to get into the stadium, that's what I'll be doing forevermore. I'm done with this nonsense. We're fishing a barrel over here. Let's go. If you're ready to relax, they'll show you how. Go to take a look, get all the answers you need. Pinch a Penny on Greer Street, just off of Capitol Circle. Come back, wrap it up momentarily.
When some slithery, slimy something shows up uninvited in my home, I want it gone now. Not next Tuesday, not tomorrow. Today. Pretty sure I'm not sleeping knowing that thing is crawling around in my house. That's why I call Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Here in Tallahassee, Paul's guarantees same-day service if I call before 1. Ants, roaches, mice, wasps, fleas, whatever it is, Paul's responds with guaranteed same-day service. Pretty sure I've never heard that from any other pest company. Guess that's an advantage to being a locally owned and operated company like Paul's Termite and Pest Control. They're here and make things happen fast.
We at Paul's know when you have some pest or rodent in your home, you want it out now. That's why in Tallahassee, we guarantee same-day service. You call us before 1, we'll be there before 5, guaranteed. That's our commitment to you. The health and protection of North Florida friends and neighbors is the reason we love our jobs.
For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all. Learn more at callpauls.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
If you've been considering getting a new hot tub or upgrading your existing hot tub, now's the absolute best time to do it. Hot Spring Spas has the jets on full blast, and the prices right now have never been hotter. You can find huge savings at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas, and we mean huge. For a limited time, you can get up to $5,000 off in instant discounts and rebates, plus 60 months, no interest financing for qualified buyers. You heard that right. $5,000 in discounts. And that's not all. When you buy a hot spring spa from Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas, you'll get a free consultation to determine the best placement in your yard for installation, a free accessory of your choice, and install can be completed in just a matter of days. It's the most aggressive rebate program that's ever been available to buyers from Hot Spring Spas. So stop by Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road today to check out their 12,000 square foot showroom with over 50 hot tubs on site. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Good bumper boats they had on US 19 at the celebration station. Bumper boats were a lot of fun.
Did you go to Adventure Island when you grew up down there? I did.
I don't know that I ever did.
You've never been to Adventure Island?
I don't think so. Is that a water park?
Yeah.
No, then definitely not. No.
Took the kids there when they were considerably younger. I think this was like maybe like 9 years ago, and we almost died.
Yeah, that's how those places go.
Well, we were all on the same tube and got kind of going sideways.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to flip.
That happened to me at Blizzard Beach. So we would go to Disney for the water parks, but then again, you had Celebration Station right around the corner, which had, the arcade, 2 stories worth of an arcade, bumper boats, go-karts. You're covered.
Can't stress enough how devastated I was at Adventure Island in the arcade when John McEnroe blew a 2-0 lead in the French Open final against Yvonne Lindell. Ruined my birthday, John McEnroe. You ruined my birthday.
How old were you?
I think it was like 8 or 9, maybe 10.
You watched the final at your birthday party when
I
you were
was
8 or 9?
tennis playing Jesse.
Oh, my goodness.
No, we had to leave. It was
because you made a scene because he lost?
No. We had to leave our house to get to Tampa. We were in St. Pete, and we had to get to Tampa to go to Adventure Island for my birthday party and meet a bunch of people there, and it was going to be a great time. And at the time we left, McEnroe had never won the French Open. It was on clay. It wasn't his surface. And he was up 2-0 against the robot, Yvonne Lindell. Never made a peep. Played an annoying brand of tennis. Was not an artist like John McEnroe was. And here it was. Mac was going to get his French. It was all set. And it looked like he was going to win in straight sets. And we left to go to Tampa, and we got there. And when I walked into the arcade after changing into my swimming trunks, Tom, and was ready to go, I saw it was 2-0. No! What is going on here? Lindell had come back and squeaked out 2 sets, and now McEnroe was down a break in the 5th. And it felt inevitable. The machine was locked in, got to everything. Nothing Mac did was going to change his fortunes, and I could sense it. The tears welled up. I was a huge John McEnroe fan. Still am.
So who is a reasonable comparison? Because when you said robot who plays a boring brand.
Yeah, Yvonne Lindell was boring. Baseline, never came to the net, got to everything, was just like a brick wall with return. Everything you hit, he got to and hit back.
I'm trying to think of another athlete. Golf is an easy sport to go to, but it could be a pitcher. Just like somebody who's boring as hell, but they just win, and it's the worst.
Well, Lindell, I always admired the fact that he was the king of just not making unforced errors. You had to hit winners to beat him. You had to hit winners to beat him. Everything was coming back over. He was waiting for you to screw it up. Hit long, hit into that, do something, unforced. And he was a great player. Boring as all hell, though. No flash, no flair for the dramatic, nothing unique. Like, a lot of guys have a facet of their game where you're like, that guy. Nobody serves in volleys like him. Or nobody, they could be devastating servers. This is before the equipment upgrade. So, like, yeah, you could be a dominant server, but it meant something different than now.
Zach Johnson.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You got it.
Zach Johnson. Boy, we're going to have the
guys won
anniversary.
2 majors.
We're going to be at St. Andrews. There's all this star power, and Zach freaking Johnson's going to win the thing. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
His conversations, his press conferences, everything about him sucks. And he may be the nicest guy on the planet. I'm sure. I just can't stand when they talk to him. In some ways, it's like Scotty Scheffler, great player, but I'm just like, okay, we can interview somebody else. Good work out of you. Well done, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great evening. Peace.